What's up, everybody? Silver here with another Halo Wars 2 achievement guide. This time we are doing part 8 of our run-through on Legendary for Halo Wars 2. So this is the 8th mission called Hold the Line. So start this up. I put a bunch of skulls on to make this a lot easier. So I have on After Party, which allows us to blow up our base or mini bases multiple times and get a ton of units for free. So I'm going to start doing that right here. So you can see I started building that mini base. I blew it up. And I got a tank and a group of Marines for free. So just do that a bunch of times to build up all your units. And then go around this this platform here and build a bunch of turrets. There's a bunch of free spaces that you could build turrets on. So definitely do that. And send your Hornet over here, because we are going to build a turret over there. There's a plot over there that we could build the turret on. But you can't see it because it's in the fog of war. But just fly over there, then build it. And we're going to upgrade our turrets eventually to flamethrower and anti-vehicle. So right now we're just building up all of our tanks, though. So that's a result of the after-party skull. So that's something we could use to our advantage here. And we will continue to do that. But yeah, so for your base, you don't really need to build any units or anything out of your base. We're just going to use all these tanks and Marines from blowing up this one mini base throughout the mission. And we're going to rely on some other skulls to help us out as well. So just build up your economy with the base, build your supply pads and generators, and make sure you upgrade those to heavy supply pads and whatever the heavy generator, whatever it is. I don't know. But yeah, and then we're going to build turrets on the base as well. But the other skulls that we have on are, the one that's really important is Pestilence, because that one will have your units lose health as time goes on. As soon as they're born or generated or whatever or spawned, they will lose health. But that also goes for the enemy units as well. And that's very helpful, especially because this level is a kind of like a tower defense level where all the enemies take like a long winding path to get to the place that you're defending. So while they're taking that long winding path, they are just losing health constantly. And they get down to about 10% health before they stop losing health. They'll get down to 10% and just remain there until you start shooting at them. And the turrets will basically just take out all of them for the most part. So there are 3 areas where they could enter this place from. The kind of bottom left, the top, and then the top right, kind of how my map is oriented right now. So when they come from the left and the top, they don't really make it very far at all if you have the turrets all set up. And what I do is I upgrade the turrets to flamethrowers and anti-vehicle, like I mentioned, so anti-infantry and anti-vehicle. And I start with an anti-infantry turret, and then I just alternate between anti-infantry and anti-vehicle. So just go back and forth down the line, upgrading your turrets. And you can see all those red dots on my radar right now are making their way through, but they're going to be killed by those turrets pretty much before they could do any damage at all to any of these barriers. So that makes it way easier. And you want to build a field armory and just upgrade all your stuff in the field armory as well, because that will definitely help out. You want to upgrade your turrets first in the field armory. You can see when I jump into the field armory right now, you can see the turrets are upgrading. It's that top option. Just upgrade those. It increases the health of your base, but also increases the damage your turrets give out. So definitely upgrade that. And again, the left and the top will be taken care of pretty quickly and efficiently by these turrets, especially once they're upgraded to anti-infantry and anti-vehicle. And again, starting from the left going to the right, I kind of just upgrade them anti-infantry, anti-vehicle, and just back and forth, because that is all that pretty much comes through this area is infantry and vehicles. Eventually Banshees will start coming in, but you can see here there's an anti-infantry turret I just set up with the first one there, and I'm just waiting for my my power to accumulate so I could upgrade the other ones. Alright, here we go. Make that one an anti-vehicle. We're going to make this one anti-infantry. That means this is anti-vehicle. So again, we're just alternating, going around the horn, if you will. And here, I'm just upgrading my leader powers. And that one, yeah, so we're just going around this little, this little plateau here and upgrading all of them, alternating. And the turrets on your base you want to upgrade to anti-air, actually, because eventually a bunch of Banshees will come at you from that area. Over here you want to make them anti-vehicle. And I'm going to start putting down these Lotus Mines so that when enemies come over there, they'll just trip over those and blow up. And I'm going to have a nice field of Lotus Mines over there eventually, which isn't 100% necessary, but it's a nice fail-safe in case everything goes to hell. But it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. So we're just waiting for the most annoying part, really, is the enemies that come from the right. Like I mentioned, the enemies that come from the left and the top are pretty much taken care of by the Pestilence Skull and also the turrets that you have built up over here. So we're just going to keep regenerating our units by blowing up that mini base. So we're just pretty much repeating that strategy over and over again for like a half hour. So yeah, but let's talk about the other skulls I have on real quick. I have on Pain Train, Bountiful Harvest, Emperor, Total Annihilation, Firestarter, Things That Go Boom, and Sugar Cookies. So those are the 7 other skulls that you want to throw on. Those are just general skulls that help you out. They actually are beneficial to only you. So they do things like increase your hit points. They decrease the cooldown times for leader powers. So you could use leader powers more often. They just make it a lot easier in general. So we don't have to go into depth about what those do exactly, but they'll just make it easier, and it's pretty noticeable when you play with them and when you play without them. But anyway, now the enemies are coming from the right. They do that about the 20-minute mark is about the time they'll start coming in from the right. And these are the most annoying enemies because they will not die from the turrets alone and the Pestilence Skull. There are too many of them, and there aren't enough turrets, and there's not enough time for the Pestilence Skull to work, so you got to send all of your units around this time over here. They kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I had all my units over by these mini bases still, blowing up this mini base and creating more tanks. So I'm just going to keep doing that. I should have moved my tanks over a little bit sooner, but that's all right. It doesn't really matter too much. Just keep building all these tanks. You'll go through a lot of them, but that's no problem. We could still just keep blowing them up and creating more instantly. So really, it's just like a war of attrition at this point. We have infinite supplies and infinite tanks we could throw at them. Granted, they will become weak pretty quickly because of the fact that the Pestilence Skull affects you and the enemy. But that's okay. So you want to make sure you watch out for this. You could see the Locusts started firing at me very far away because the Locusts have a very long range. So you want to make sure you keep an eye on your tanks over here because you want to move them closer to the Locusts once the Locusts start firing at you. Or else they'll just get wiped out by the Locusts, and the Locusts will be unharmed, at least from the tanks. So just keep an eye on here, and the turrets, since you set up all those turrets, the anti-infantry and vehicle over here, the enemies coming from the left and the top are pretty much going to be taken care of just by the turrets alone. So you don't really have to pay too much attention to the left and the top, which is great. So you just keep throwing all of your tanks at this one area over here. And remember to use your leader powers when you feel necessary. You have a drop turret you could use. So you could just deploy a turret anywhere. You can see I'm starting to upgrade my base turrets to anti-air and the turrets around it. So those two. This guy we're going to keep anti-infantry. So yeah, just the 4 turrets on your base, upgrade to anti-air, and also the couple, there's like 2 or 3 to the left of the base you want to upgrade to anti-air as well. Eventually there will be Banshees that just fly in a very set path, and those turrets will take those Banshees out for you, and you won't have to really pay attention to those either. So that is helpful as well. But obviously this video is sped up. It was at like 1.8 times speed in the beginning, and then I upped it a little bit more to 2 times speed because this is pretty much all we're going to be doing is sending a ton of tanks over to this side. I deploy my Lotus Mines whenever I can, whenever they recharge, which again is helped by one of the skulls I mentioned, one of the 9 skulls I have on. Helps the leader powers recharge faster, so you'll be able to deploy more. I just deploy them behind my units so that if my units are ever destroyed the enemies will have to deal with the mines on the ground. So you can see I'm just going to build up a big minefield over here pretty much. Another thing that may take out your units pretty quickly is the leader powers from the enemy. Sometimes they have like a glassing beam. I'm not sure exactly which leader power they use, but it's just like a beam of energy that comes down from the sky, and it can wipe out your units pretty quickly just because of the fact that Pestilence is on, so your units will all be pretty weak. So you want to watch out for that. So make sure you're keeping an eye on your units. You're basically just going to be, building tanks and marines throughout this whole mission, pretty much. So yeah, just be ready for that. So they could go out pretty quickly. So make sure you keep an eye on your population. Obviously, in the field armory, we upgraded everything. So now we are building barracks and garages. I have the garage going right there, you can see. And what I'm doing is I'm upgrading the vehicles. It's the top option, and that allows you to upgrade the vehicles, which will give them increased health and damage. So obviously their health is very low, but why not make it? Why not make the floor a little higher? 10% of a higher number is better than 10% of a lower number. So even though it's not that significant of an upgrade, just upgrade it anyway. You got a ton of supplies and power here, as you can see. So do that. You got nothing else going on. All you're doing is building these tanks and marines real quick. It would be nice if you could set a rally point for the tanks and marines to go to once you create them by destroying the mini base. But look at those Lotus mines right there. Those worked out pretty well. But yeah, so it would be nice if you could throw a rally point and they all go there. But since they're created by blowing up the base, they kind of just sit next to the base instead of going somewhere. It would be nice, but alas, you can see me. I usually build like 2 of them and then I send them over. And now I'm just contributing to this this minefield again. Building more mini bases, destroying them right away. Built a couple and throwing them over there. Then repeat. And there we go. So we got 8 minutes left, minus, or divided by 2 because I've sped this up to 2 times speed. So hang in there. We're almost there. Obviously, I took these power generators way back in the beginning of the level. There's one to the back right of your base, and there's one kind of where that mini base is that I've been blowing up and building the entire time. So look out for that. It'll give you, it'll help in the beginning. It doesn't really help at this point because we have so much power and energy. We have no idea what to do with it. But it helps in the beginning. It speeds up your progress a little bit. At this point, look at this. This is a nice little minefield that we get going on here. Let's keep that up. And you can see the Banshees are here, and these are the turrets I upgraded over there with the anti-air, the missile pods. And those infantry have no chance against these tanks. Look at that. That is a beautiful thing. Look at those guys. They're just walking through the line. They have like no health already, and they haven't really even gotten to the gauntlet of turrets yet. Those guys are having a tough time. Look at that. What great turrets. And what's nice about the turrets is the turrets aren't affected by the Pestilence skull, so they will remain healthy while all of the units around them will slowly die off. More mines? Sure, why not? Look at this. I kind of like just want to leave the area and watch my my minefield at work. See if that could work on its own, but I'm not going to do that, obviously. Keep building those tanks. It is tempting to watch or want to see the enemy go through the minefield, but let's not do that. Let's not get cocky here. We are not Luke Skywalker aboard the Millennium Falcon. More mines. And just regenerate. It's kind of it seems like a hopeless effort when you use the regeneration or the restoration drones on your units that will simply deteriorate health-wise once that regeneration field is gone, but it helps a little bit. So why not use it? It's there. We got tons of supplies and I almost said ammo. I guess we have unlimited ammo in this game. You never really see them running out of it, but Oh, those locusts again. So make sure you close the gap on them, or else they'll just take you out from far away. Looks like my Spartan actually was killed there, which was that big explosion. With one of the skulls we have on here, the Spartan, when he dies, any of your Spartans that die, they just explode, or any of your leaders actually. So it doesn't even have to be a Spartan, but it tends to be in campaign. In multiplayer, obviously, there's a bunch of different leaders, but campaign, Spartans are where it's at. But yeah, they'll blow up. Obviously, you want to move towards your Spartans as they die, because they do regenerate. They'll just get back up after a certain amount of time. But you have to send your units towards them for them to pop back up. So do that. We're approaching the end, though. I want to pull out my units and just watch them go through the minefield at this point, because it is a pretty nice-looking minefield. So I think I do end up doing that. Yeah, you can see the Spartans down on the ground there, and once my units approached them, he became active again. So that's something you'll want to watch out from. We're pretty much set at this point. I don't even think they can make it to the defense point, or whatever we're defending, that big beam of energy. I don't even think they can make it to that point in time. They still have all these barricades to deal with, and this giant minefield that I've created. This is a thing of beauty right here. Look at that. I wish I could see them go through it, but anyway, maybe I'll do that later. But yeah, that's about it for this one. This one's kind of boring. You gotta wait 30 minutes, and you're pretty much just doing the same thing for a long time. Blowing it up, sending all your units to the right side, and then the turrets take care of the left and the top units once you have everything all built up. But that is it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Click like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Follow me on Twitter at HaloCompletion and on Twitch and Mixer at SilverScorpion4. And make sure to check out my podcast called HaloConversationists. And I'll see you guys later for more Halo achievements.